that death could actually mean something in a superhero movie.
Soundstripe. Soundstripe.
What's up, people? Welcome back to another episode of Stars and Garters. I'm Katie Pettit, and you guys know that I love Marvel, hence the whole Marvel Mondays idea, and I kind of did say it was my favorite fandom of all the fandoms in my 100th episode of the last season. But to be honest, even though I still know the movies pretty well and, know the MCU well enough, and I've been able to talk about it, obviously. It had really been a while since I had watched most of the movies in the MCU. Like, all the recent stuff I was, up to date on, but with most of, the earlier movies, I've seen almost every movie, but, with most of the early movies, it had been a while since I had actually went and watched the movies. So I was recently given a whole lot of downtime when I was on break, and I thought, while I can't do anything else, why not do something I've been meaning to do for a long time? And that is just rewatch the entire MCU in timeline order. So I found they have it on. They have a section on Disney Plus that shows you the timeline order that includes most of the shows and the one shots and stuff. I didn't find it until I missed a few of their earlier shows and one shots. But I also have been researching online because it doesn't completely get everything I want in there. But yeah, basically my rules for this were pretty much the rules are if I want to watch it, I'll watch it. But it's I wanted to watch all of the important to the timeline shows and movies that fit into the timeline. So I kind of made up that rule so that I can kind of skip out on some of the stuff that I don't really want to watch again. I don't want to. I just really would not like to watch She-Hulk again. So I'm just gonna say that by my rules, it is not necessary. So, but I'm also definitely watching some unnecessary ones too. But it's all in timeline order. So yeah, I'm basically going to give you guys, some things I noticed, basically, some things I was reminded of, and things like that while rewatching the entire MCU. I have not finished yet, to be clear. I am the last thing I watched was what was it? Season 2, episode 14, I think, of Agents of Shield. And so yeah, so there was that. So I don't know. That's a third of the way through. But I plan obviously to keep going, and I'll give you guys updates as well when I finish a next big chunk. But I'll just kind of go through and give my takes basically on things that I noticed. I don't even have notes for this one. I'm literally just looking at the order, and yeah. So let's start at the beginning. Captain America: The First Avenger, which I know I had watched before, and I say watched in quotations because I'm pretty sure I fell asleep watching it. So this was kind of this felt like my first time watching it, and I have always been more on the Iron Man side of things. Favorite character wise, I've never been a huge fan of Captain America the character, but this movie was actually pretty good. I mean, it was I kind of expected it to be boring because my memory of it was me falling asleep. So I kind of expected it to be really slow and boring, and it definitely was not anywhere up there in top tier favorite kind of Marvel movies. But it was so much better than I thought, and it definitely served as a really cool origin story, and I think did a very good job of introducing the character, and it pointed out to me a lot of things that I had forgotten about Captain America, and kind of reminded me of how he was introduced, and reminded me a lot about who he is as a character. So it was very refreshing, and I was, and it was really interesting to watch, as like knowing how MCU movies look now and watching like this kind of, not the first one, but feels like the first one. It was very interesting, and I did enjoy it. And then I should have watched Agent Carter, the show, next, but I did not know. I hadn't found the good timeline guide yet, so I missed it, and it just feels wrong to watch it now. So I did miss that. But the next was Captain Marvel, and yeah, I had actually that one I'd watched like last year, so I just watched it again, and my take is still the same. I did an entire episode basically on this take, but people are way too hard on it. Captain Marvel's a pretty cool movie and a great character. I personally think. I think she goes through a lot of like growth in this movie, and she has just a very interesting arc that I think people really sleep on. And if like genuinely that like people don't like the character, that's obviously fine. I just think people judge very quickly without giving the movie a chance. And my take is still that. I watched it again and I was like, yeah, this is fun and I like her. She's so cool. Her relationship with her friend is really great, and Nick Fury's role I think is really good in that movie too. And then Goose. So that was just all great. And then started the Iron Man movies, which, to be honest, I don't know if I had watched all the way before. I know that like I had seen them with my dad, but like these were they're not a long time ago. But the first one was released when I was 2. So it kind of feels like a long time for me. So this was definitely another like, I know this movie, but like it feels like the first time. And all of the Iron Man movies, I think personally, I heard a lot of bad things about Iron Man 2, but honestly, like sometimes I feel like I should just stop looking at other people's opinions of stuff, because like I like feel very strongly about things, and then sometimes when I see that the general consensus is like against my opinion, I'm like, wait, is my opinion wrong? But then I'm like, opinions that's literally antithetical to the definition of opinion. So, but I really enjoyed all of the Iron Man movies. But what was weird to me is that like I thought that I would enjoy them a little bit more. Like literally no disrespect, like no nothing. I'm not trying to say really anything bad about the Iron Man movies, but I still really like Iron Man as a character, and his movies, just their kind of vibe, I guess, was not as appealing to me as I thought it would be. They're still really well made movies. He's still a great character. That was, he's obviously the best part of the movies. Just seeing him kind of change and go through stuff and grow is all great. Just, he was, I think I might describe him as like a favorite, but he's not like a favorite character, so it kind of makes sense. But these still were solid movies, and some I do like while rewatching these, I got to really kind of see those first moments, like the first moment when he put on the suit, and just like some really epic moments like that kind of were really cool to experience it, and it kind of felt like experiencing it for the first time. So I got pretty fired up on some of those moments, and it was just really cool to experience it in that way. And then in between, splitting up the Iron Man movies for a little bit, there was actually, I did watch the Incredible Hulk movie, the one that everybody trashes on. So those moments that I was talking about where other people generally not liking something, affecting my opinion, are usually very brief moments. I usually don't really care. It's usually just like when it surprises me and I didn't know about it, like with Iron Man 2, that like kind of surprised me that people didn't like it, that it kind of like makes me think twice about it, but usually I don't care. So like going into the Incredible Hulk, I was like, people don't like this movie, but like I'm just gonna watch it and I'm gonna, I'm going to formulate my own opinion on this. And I I really don't get the like deep hatred for it. Like it was not, again, I don't think it was one of the top tier movies at all, but like I think Edward Norton gives a really good performance. I do like Mark Ruffalo's better. I like kind of I like the more nerdy Bruce Banner that he leans into. But I think he did a really good job with the character, and I thought the movie had some really great moments. It was really, you know, it had a lot of good action in it and a lot of good moments with the characters as well. And there's like I keep seeing one admittedly pretty bad moment, not like bad like uh well just like I see people keep pointing to this one like really not good moment, and kind of every time they talk about why the movie is bad, that's like the first and most thing that they bring up, which is interesting because if a movie has one really bad moment but a lot of good moments, I don't know. I don't understand personally, but I really enjoyed the movie. Like, well, I enjoyed the movie. Like again, it was not super epic, like, wow, this is actually so great. I was kind of like, like this is a fine movie. Like I'm having a good time. Like I didn't really get the whole hatred vibe. But teach their own. Um and then came the first Thor movie. Uh I so I did enjoy this one as well. Again, I feel like this one was kind of a little bit above like the Incredible Hulk tier, I guess. It kind of sits in the same level as like Iron Man. It kind of sits in the same level, maybe a little bit below the Iron Man movies. It's like it was an enjoyable watch. It didn't feel like it wasn't super awesome like all the way throughout, and there weren't like a bunch of super standout moments, but it was just a nice. It was an enjoyable watch, and there were some really cool action scenes in this. I really liked most of the characters. I liked Jane more than I remembered liking her. And then I really like his friends. They had a name? I'm sure they had a name, but I forgot it. Especially Sif. Sif's a baddie, and I forgot about her too. So that was fun. And I also watched Thor: The Dark World when it came time to watch that, and uh, that one also is a movie that gets a lot of hate, and also that I don't really understand. Oh, and Loki. Yeah, Loki appears first in this and just kind of reminded me, like, yeah, Loki's awesome. Loki's always been awesome. He's gone through a ton of changes, but he has always been awesome. Always the best character in the Thor movies, personally, for me. No matter how many times he dies and comes back, everything he does will always land perfectly and be perfect and awesome because Loki's awesome. So, but yeah. And then Thor: The Dark World was not terrible to me either. I don't, like forgettable villain, sure, but like I didn't hate it. Like I feel like the internet tells me that I'm supposed to. So, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed myself with that one as well. So those first two Thor movies are kind of in the same category together. And then, like, I know Thor Ragnarok is going to be different. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I've watched that one multiple times. That was the more recent one, and I really, really like that movie. But it's a completely different vibe, and it's very interesting. Like watching the first two Thor movies, and like kind of going into my head to like parts of Thor Ragnarok and being like, like, is this the same movie franchise? Like, what happened? Like, that's so different. I don't know. It's just odd that they went in a completely different tone, and like I don't know. It kind of felt a little weird to me, a little broken up because I really really like Thor Ragnarok as just like a movie, but like as a part of the Thor movies, it's just odd to me thinking about it. But I haven't watched it as a part of the timeline yet, so maybe that'll that feeling will go away. But just kind of like rewatching those two Thor movies for the first time in a while kind of jarred me a little bit. And then after the first Thor movie came The Avengers, which I forgot how awesome it was. I remember, like, I think about The Avengers, and I like know that that's a good movie. Like in my brain, that's just the general vibe of that movie. I'm like, okay, that's a really good movie. But watching it just it was so like especially watching it in the right order of the timeline was really cool. It was a really cool feeling to me because I got to see all these characters and see kind of their individual thing, and get the Avengers to be teased and kind of feel like it was like the first time, and then see them all come together. That was really cool. That felt really, really cool. And the movie's still just great. Everything basically about the movie is really great. So, like, obviously, it was so good. I still remember enjoying like each subsequent movie more, including Age of Ultron, which is another one that people don't seem to like. but, uh, but yeah, the first Avengers so good, obviously, and I forgot about it. All right, and then we had Iron Man 3, which is kind of in the same bracket as the other one, and then we had Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and this movie weirded me out because I liked it a lot more than all of the Iron Man movies, and most of the movies up to that point, except like the Avengers, um, which really weirded me out because again, not a huge Captain America fan, not one of my favorite characters in any sense. Um, I mean, obviously a good character and a well done character, just like not my thing at all. Um, but like this movie, Captain America: Winter Soldier is also a great movie. Maybe it's Bucky. It's probably Bucky. I do love Bucky. He is definitely a favorite. But Bucky coming back. But like everything about this, including Captain America's story in all of this, was so good. Like the action was great. I really really liked the action in this. Black Widow's part in it was all just really great, and kind of the story of like Shield getting taken out was so interesting. And it was just like it was all so good, and I did not expect to enjoy it as much as I did. But yeah, that one was a great one. I'm so glad that I went back to that one because that one I know I had watched before, and kind of my memory of it was like it was a little boring. But then I rewatched it, and nothing was boring. It was so good. But Captain America: The Winter Soldier brings me to a very interesting, completely new addition to my MCU knowledge of anything ever. Because actually, the first few episodes take place after the Avengers, because the last few episodes take place after Shield falls. So, but I started watching the show Agents of Shield, like I mentioned earlier, because I saw it in that's when I finally got the list really ready, and I saw that Agents of Shield was listed in there and important, so I decided to start watching that, and like I was expecting nothing for this show. I mainly just wanted to see what was going on with Agent Coulson, um, and how they were dealing with his death, and bringing him back to life, and what all of that was meaning. But this show is so good. Everything about it is so good. There's a bunch of new characters for me to love. But like, let me start by saying, because I said I watched this to find out what happened to Agent Coulson. Uh, this is how you do. If you're gonna kill off a character and bring him back, this is how you do it. Like, this is the model. Like, you don't have to do like any the same type of stuff exactly. Like, you don't have to do it exactly as it is done. But this is the outline. This is how you do it. Because I thought they were gonna completely brush it off like you usually do, which doesn't always completely bother me. Like in a it's expected kind of way. Like I kind of try to not let it get to me because like that's kind of just what they do, and I'm kind of like, what, if the rest of the movie's good, we'll not deal with this. But they did not at all. It has carried through. I'm in the second season and it's still carrying through. It's carried through like almost every episode. The first few episodes that I thought they were doing the brushing it off thing, because he kind of comes in, they're talking to this agent, and he's like, I know Phil Coulson died in the battle for New York, and he's like saying something about he's only clearance level 6 or something, and then Coulson walks in, he's like, "Welcome to level 7," and they kind of just leave it at that. But then further along in the season, they kind of drop hints that something is being kept from Coulson. He has like memories of being dead for a little bit, somehow being brought to life, he doesn't know how, and then like spending some time in Tahiti and getting like a vacation. And it kind of keeps, uh, you know, hints are being dropped that like something happened in that vacation that like was not a vacation. Something happened to him, um, that really affected him. And spoilers, because really this is a great show, and you should go watch it if you like cool spy shows with a lot of action and really awesome characters, or anything. Just watch it. Just watch it is what I'm saying. But like Coulson finds out that like they did some really terrible, like really not ethical medical procedures involving like alien technology and DNA to bring him back, and he uh like it was very traumatic for him, and he like wanted to die during the process of bringing him back, so they replaced his memories, and he's not the first person they've tried to do this with. And because of that like alien technology and stuff that's gone through him and gone through his system, he now is like a different person, and he's been changed, and it affects him all throughout the season, and he like starts seeing things, having horrible flashbacks, and starts like seeing symbols and all of this stuff. There's a lot that happens, like can't even explain all of it in an episode that's not just dedicated to the show. But like it carries through, and it's still carrying through. We're into the second season, and it's still mattering. And it's just great. They deal with it so well, and it was so refreshing. I haven't seen somebody deal with a death, um, and a resurrection so well, like in so long. I forgot that they like this is like Jason Todd level. Good job bringing back a dead person. Like, because Loki's thing, his coming back to life never really bothered me because it's just like he's a trickster. This is something he does. And that was kind of okay to me. But like this, the way they dealt with this, it's not just like, oh, it's okay. It's like they're really like doing it. It's like it's not just, oh, they brought him back. It's like good. It's a good story element that they brought him back that is carrying through. It's just, I was so happy with it. It's not something I was expecting to be done so well, and I was very, very, very happy with it. Good job to them. But this show also has some great new characters. There's like it centers around this chick Sky, who starts out hating Shield and becomes a Shield agent, and because they are connected to her family, who she doesn't know about. She's very cool. She's kind of, I really like her in a kind of, relate to her way, because she's very snarky and cynical, and, deflects not fun things with humor and sarcasm. So all of those good things. And she becomes a total baddie by season 2, so that's always a plus. There's this character, like Coulson's a good character in this too. There's this character Ward, who is like a typical secret agent type, I guess. Just really cool, really stone faced, kind of really serious dude, who is great at like everything spyish, and then he turns out to be a bad guy at the end, which was so sad. And just like he was working for Hydra when the events of the Winter Soldier happened, and then I went and watched the rest of the season. He turned out to be one of the agents of Hydra that was hidden in Shield, and it was big sad. But he's just a super well done character. You've got one of my favorite parts that I noticed real quickly was you've got the voice of Mulan playing a complete baddie. Her name is May, Agent May. She's just so cool. She's like she's very stoic like Ward, and she's very like she doesn't really ever smile. She has like kind of one expression, but she's super good at everything. And she's very calm and level headed, and just awesome. Like all of the fight scenes she's in, all the fight scenes in this show are great because it's really cool, kind of different action from your usual MCU stuff because it's like a spy show and most of these people don't have powers. So you've got them, they're like using guns and their fists and knives, and it's super cool, and all the fight choreography is so like cool looking and just like intense, and it's pretty awesome. Um, and yeah, just the fact that Mulan, like she voices this super awesome, like this super awesome Disney female character that can totally kick your butt, and then the super awesome Marvel character that could totally kick your butt. And apparently she plays somebody in Star Wars too, who I assume can totally kick your butt. So good for her. So yeah, and then you've got the little science spy nerd, this Fitz and Simmons, or Fitzsimmons as they go by because they're so close to each other. And Simmons is a great character, but Fitz, I love Fitz. He's just like protect Fitz. He he goes through a lot in like the second season because like at the end of season one, part of Ward's betrayal is he drops Fitzsimmons like out of the plane, and Fitz gets like serious brain damage, and he just goes through so much, and he's like he's very like, I don't even know if nerdy is the right word, but he's very smart and intelligent, maybe like a little socially awkward, but he's very genuine and like earnest and wants to help. And he's just, I love Fitz. Like, we need to protect the Fitz. But yeah, Agents of Shield so far is so great. It's just awesome. It's yeah, it's awesome. that's that's the gist of it. TLDR, it is amazing. Um, so yeah, after the first season of Agents of Shield was over, we got into basically most of the Guardian solo stuff. Basically everything, they do all their solo stuff. Besides Volume 3 and the Christmas special and whatnot, like right before the next Avengers movie. So it was Guardians of the Galaxy, Guardians of the Guardians of the Galaxy, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and then the I Am Groot shorts series, which I did watch. I know I said stuff important to the timeline, but again, like I said before, it's just the stuff that I wanted to watch, and I wanted to watch a little tree man doing shenanigans. So I did, and it was wonderful. But yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy movie are definitely a higher tier. I remembered I remembered liking them, like definitely more than, maybe the Captain America movies or like the Iron Man stuff, I guess. I couldn't tell you why before I rewatched it. But I rewatched them and still I would put them very high tier, below, like obviously below the Avengers, but like below Captain America the Winter Soldier, which is still crazy to me how good that movie was. But yeah, these are just solid, like really. I I've said a few times, or maybe I've thought, I don't know if I've said it, but I've said a few times that like, because I don't like Star Wars, and I thought that maybe the reason was because I didn't like space stuff. But after rewatching these two movies, which are completely set in space, I can't say that's true anymore because I really loved that. But it's really cool. Another kind of different type of action with like space action, and a lot of really good comedy as well. Chris Pratt totally does this role super well. And it's just a really nice ragtag bunch of misfits kind of movie. And it's done really well. I love Rocket so much. I forgot how much I loved Rocket a little bit. Great to be reminded of how great Rocket is. Um, Groot's death in the first movie, I think, still hits, even though he like can come back anytime he dies. And you don't even really have to explain it because he's just a tree. He just regrows, but it still hits because like Rocket's reaction, especially, I think, was done super well. So that moment, like I was kind of expecting, like, oh, he just dies and comes back. But I think that moment still hit in Volume 1. And then Volume 2 was also great. Yondu is one of the characters who actually hasn't come back, and his death definitely hit hard in that second movie. R.I.P. Mary Poppins forever. Like he was great, and that whole movie was great as well. I forgot them introducing Mantis, so that was nice to be kind of reintroduced to her. And that movie on the same vein, just a lot of interesting and kind of different but really good action, and a lot of really great comedy and humor as well. Just all of that. And then the I Am Groot was just a little fun bit of shenanigans. Uh, so yeah, that's all that was, but it was nice as well. Rocket Raccoon makes some cameos, so yeah, that was nice. And then after those, you get some more Agents of Shield. We start um the next started season 2, which has still been really great, and the next thing up after episode 19 specifically of Agents of Shield season 2 is Avengers Age of Ultron, which I'm really looking forward to because I remember really, really, really liking that movie. So yeah, that is as far as I have gotten in my rewatch. And just the main gist of it was like these older movies, like they kind of did like this dual thing where I'm like, man, I forgot how good these older movies are. Like Marvel was really started off super strong, but a lot of these movies feel on the same kind of tier as a lot of the newer movies. So that was interesting because I think I've been more positive than most people about like kind of the MCU in the future and stuff. But still, like it was so interesting that like the older movies were really good, but they weren't like all great. And I feel like some people kind of talk as if older Marvel was all just top tier, like hit after hit after hit, and I don't think it really was. I think it like I really haven't watched a movie so far that I have not enjoyed, to be honest. But really, the quality and the type of movie and how much I enjoyed the movie are really comparable to like newer movies that everybody kind of gets really mad about, which is interesting. And I wonder if it might have been just the complete spike of how good Infinity War and Endgame were, and just how like really elite and like top tier those movies were, and then kind of going back to not every movie's a total hit. I wonder if that has something to do with it. Like maybe Marvel hasn't fallen off like we thought it has. I think you can kind of see that what with Thunderbolts being so great and everything. But I don't know. That was just the most fascinating part to me was the difference in how much I enjoyed the movies. It's just really interesting to me. So yeah, but as that is how far I've gotten in my rewatch, that is how far we will go in the episode. I will give updates as I feel enough things have been watched. I'll give updates. It's not by phases or anything. That would take too much planning, to be honest. Um, but yeah, I am really enjoying this, and you should give it a rewatch too if you have the time. It's a really fun thing to do, if you're a big Marvel fan. So give it a try. But as always, thank you for watching, and make sure to like. Make sure to subscribe or follow, whatever you're doing. Maybe do both if you're feeling really nice. Share the pod with your friends, and make sure to comment. If you go and decide to do a rewatch, tell me how that was for you. So yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Soundstripe.